Summer is coming, and there are various indications that there are too many incidents this season that are affecting the harvest, including drought, flood, and human factors such as the inability of wheat harvesters to enter the field. Let's first look at Henan Province. It's the second largest grain-producing province in China. Its wheat production ranks first in the country, accounting for about a quarter of the country's total area and output. The local government originally announced on May 31st that it would urgently allocate 200 million yuan or $28 million for drying wheat. So, why does wheat need to be dried? Nanyang City, Henan Province has been cloudy and rainy recently. It happens to be the harvesting season when the wheat is ripe, ready to be taken in. Planters usually hire a large number of field harvesters to assist in harvesting. However, after hundreds of harvesters were loaded onto trucks and driven onto the highway, they were stopped by traffic police at a toll booth. At this highway exit, these harvesters have been trapped for a while. Some were trapped as long as 7 days. Those who came later were also trapped, with some stuck for as long as 5 days. The reasons given by the toll station for blocking them are unlicensed operation, and harvesters are ultra-wide, ultra-high, and overweight. The drivers said that in addition to being accused by the traffic police of being too high and too wide, they were also accused of being overweight after being weighed. Moreover, many drivers were blocked at toll booths and couldn't pass through because they were accused of failing to apply for cross-district operation permits and to go through large-scale transportation procedures. But the drivers said they couldn't understand, as for many years they were able to enter different parts of Henan Province to harvest wheat without any problem. How come the rules are changed this year? What happened this year in particular? Let's watch a video from the same province earlier to find out. All counties have run out of money through the 3-year epidemic, and there is no money left in the treasury. Therefore, we ask you to enforce the law in place. Enforcement must be effective. If it's necessary to issue fines, you must issue the fines. Is there a quota? Of course, you have to work hard in the next couple of years. You have to give the driver a fine. If you don't issue the fine, you are the one who is in trouble. Sometimes a load of 49 tons shows over 50 tons, 51 tons, or 52 tons on police equipment. Their equipment isn't right. I have another ticket that shows 51.7 tons, which is overloaded. I hauled the standard 49 tons, but their equipment just showed 51.7 tons. Driver, just now it shows that your vehicle is overloaded. I haven't loaded over the limit, but their scale shows that my vehicle is overloaded, overweight by more than 2 tons. Something is wrong with their scale. Then how do you prove that you're not overloaded? I have the loading receipt. Let me see how much it shows here. 50.6 tons. Just now they showed 52 tons. I don't accept this number. Their scale is just nonsense. Their scale isn't right. Apparently, the traffic police in Henan Province have not only targeted big trucks, but they have also given the same treatment to harvesters. Some drivers were charged more than 800 RMB or 113 USD for the oversized harvester on the truck. Some were pulled over for other reasons and received tickets.
In some places, combined harvesters aren't allowed on the highway. They need to bring the driver's ID, the license to drive the harvester, the purchase invoice of the harvester, the manufacturer's certificate of qualification, and the official seal of the Provincial Agricultural Machinery Transportation Department and the County Agricultural Machinery Management Department before they are considered valid and can be let go.
Local police officers are busy generating income for the government, but they lack experience in agricultural production and forget that for crops there is no recourse when missing the season. The harvesters couldn't get there, so the local wheat was left on the ground, soaking in the rain and then sprouting.
It's sprouting. Look, what long sprouts they have. It's all sprouted. It's almost ready to be eaten. No one is coming to harvest it. So what can we do with the sprouts?
These
all belong to my family. What can I do? Even if it's sunny in the next few days, it will take half a month to dry them all. If there's no sunny day, and it rains again, and it continues to rain, then there's really nothing we can do. They will all go bad.
Can you still sell it for money?
Where can it be sold? Who will want this?
Previously, on May 24th, the Meteorological Department had forecasted that the southern part of Henan, including Nanyang, would receive continuous rainfall. Agricultural experts also predicted that the best time to harvest wheat in Nanyang and other places was around mid-May. Sure enough, from May 25th to 30th, there was widespread rainfall in the southern part of Henan Province. A village cadre told overseas Chinese media that the village expected a one-third reduction in yield. Sprouted wheat is equivalent to being wasted. If the wheat gets moldy, it will have to be thrown away and can't even feed the pigs. If we go by that one harvester can harvest 100 mu or 16.5 acres a day, the hundreds of harvesters stranded on the highway could have successfully harvested 30,000 mu or 4,942 acres of wheat before the rain. So, the loss is significant. Not only did the peasants in Nanyang City suffer huge losses, but local peasants also told overseas Chinese media that wheat in Henan Province ripens from south to north. Within a few days, the harvesting period will be over. Therefore, it has delayed harvesting in other places.
Today is May 29th, and I'm at Yucheng County, Shangqiu City, Henan Province. Here we have a large area of black wheat ears and moldy wheat ears. It was a small patch when I came to see it yesterday, but today it's a large patch. 80% of the field is like this, only the degree of severity. Yesterday when I came to this field, I saw that the wheat hadn't sprouted yet, but today I saw that it had sprouted extensively. The degree of sprouting is more serious. You can take a look at it. As the raining period is relatively long, a lot of wheat falls on the ground and there is more and more.
What should I do? This is all my land, almost 20 mu, 3.3 acres, and it's all over. If it doesn't clear up in 3 days, it will all be finished. This year's harvest will be zero. The news that hundreds of harvesters can't get off the highway because of exceeding the width and height hit the Chinese web search and sparked widespread concern. As a result, the Nanyang municipal government said that operators with inter-district operation permits can pass for free, otherwise they need to pay the highway tolls. The official Chinese media explained from the standpoint of the traffic police that in 2023, the Chinese Ministry of Transport launched 2 documents that require an inter-district operation permit for combine harvesters and vehicles transporting combine harvesters to work across districts. In addition, if the vehicle exceeds the limit, you must apply for a large-scale transport certificate. If you don't apply for an over-limit transport certificate, the over-limit vehicle must pay tolls. In this regard, Chinese netizens said, "Is it necessary to issue inter-district operation permits? This kind of equipment can't be faked and can be easily identified by a glance. It's all clever trickery to make things difficult for the operators." In addition to the heavy losses of peasants, the news that a rumor monger was arrested by the police was also reported in Henan. On May 30th, a municipal internet information office in Henan issued a report that a Douyin user posted something about the seizure of harvesters in Yuan City, Henan. The content of this information is false, causing a serious negative impact, and the public security organ has placed him in administrative detention for 7 days for disturbing public order with fictitious facts. The news sparked a backlash from netizens who said the authorities were apparently much quicker to deal with online rumors than to release the harvester. Under intense public pressure, Henan Province has started to let go of the harvesters on the highway. It, however, requires the drivers to sign and pay the toll in the future.
Are you willing to pay it now, or are you willing to pay the fee later? You sign a note now, you don't have to pay right now, but you have to pay it later.
Then we pay it. What do you mean by pay it later? It's simply a dark world everywhere. Even if we have documents, they are useless. Some places recognize them, some places don't.
You either pay the fee now, pay the 7 yuan, or you sign a letter of notification this time, so we won't collect the fee, but we'll send you a notice later to pay. This is the note. Have a look. Sign. Then leave your name, license number, and phone number. This time you won't be charged, but you have to pay back next time. When to pay it? Just wait for the notice.
One of the ripple effects of the Henan harvesters incident is that the price of wheat in China has skyrocketed. The price of wheat has gone up considerably. The price at today's flour mills has increased by up to 4 cents, or RMB 80 per ton. Today, what has been auctioned off the most is the aged wheat. The price reached over 3,000 yuan per ton. The aged wheat sold out, and the price has gone up too. What is the reason for the price increase? It's because the wheat germinated after heavy rains in most areas this year. I am in Henan region, and this land is fine, but it's all black too. Inside it is all sprouted wheat, some long and some short. Shifeng City in Henan has prices increased up to 1.45 yuan. Other flour mills are also increasing their prices, one after another. There is a craze to buy food, and some people salvage the wheat from the water and try to sell it. Some people hung wheat on trees and waited for it to dry naturally. The field behind me is considered good. The sprouts haven't come out, but they are inside the wheat. Like this, it's considered good wheat for this year. There is a little bit of sprouting, but it's already regarded as good wheat.
Even the reserve warehouse in Qingdao, Shandong Province is currently auctioning off aged wheat for over 3,000 yuan a ton. See behind me? This is the reason for the price increase. Do you see it? This is the reason why the price of aged wheat is going up. The price of the old wheat has risen. What about the new wheat? I walked through this wheat field and it was all in this germination condition. All of them have green seedlings and very long sprouts. It's all like this. What should we do?
Because the price of flour in China has skyrocketed, suppliers have started to stock up. Wheat sprouting is not only happening in Henan Province, but also in the southern province of Anhui, where heavy rains have caused wheat to fail in many places. All is rotten. We have a dam here, and when it rains heavily, the water can't be drained. The wheat is more than 1,000 mu, or 165 acres. It's all soaked in the water. The water level of the outer river is relatively high, so the water in the wheat fields can't discharge. It's basically impossible to harvest the wheat, so it's all wasted. China has a large population but a relatively small amount of arable land per capita. Moreover, the excessive use of chemical fertilizers has reduced the soil fertility of large areas of farmland. The number of peasants has declined in recent years as the population becomes urbanized. This has made China increasingly dependent on imports. In late 2021, at the Central Economic Work Conference, Xi Jinping emphasized that the rice bowl of the Chinese must always be firmly in our hands and that we must not get stuck on the food issue. In other words, he wants to achieve self-sufficiency in food. On the other hand, there are many signs that the CCP is preparing for war. Therefore, the CCP has launched a political campaign to return forests to farmland since 2023. Look, gongs and drums are used to celebrate this movement. It's not just about returning forests to farmland, but also retiring ponds to farmland, and retiring parks to farmland, and even retiring roads to farmland. Large trees were uprooted by large machines of some sort, large ponds were filled in and replanted, parks that cost a lot of money were torn down to plant crops, and even roads that were paved with concrete and asphalt were turned into farmland. There are also recent cases of peasants in rural China being asked to move their ancestral graves to make way for farmland. This is another major agricultural province in China, Jiangxi Province. In order to acquire land, the government has suddenly dispatched construction teams with excavators to dig up ancestral graves without the villagers' consent, forcing the villagers to relocate the graves while police cars and triads are sent to suppress the villagers.
Do you have any decency? You all have children and ancestors, but you just dug up our ancestors' graves.
Villagers clashed with officials to protect their ancestral graves. Many villagers were beaten to the ground, and many others were arrested by public security officers and taken to police cars. It can be said that the CCP has employed a variety of methods to restore farmland at great economic cost and the cost of social stability, only to add very little farmland. Yet intercepting harvesters at highways in Henan Province has affected thousands of acres of crops. Just how many times would it take to offset that lost food by plowing the restored land? That's not the only thing the CCP needs to be worried about. At the end of May 2023, many Chinese provinces and cities experienced high temperatures. For example, the temperature in Shanghai, according to the official announcement, was 36.1 degrees Celsius or 96.98 Fahrenheit. It might be even higher, but this official figure has already broken the 100-year local record for the highest temperature in May.
It feels like it's getting hotter faster than previous years. When I brought my child out at this time in previous years, it was okay. Overall, it wasn't so hot and stuffy. But this year, once I stepped out, it feels like summer and I immediately started sweating. In the earlier few days, it was quite cool. Then it felt like the weather was suddenly approaching summer. There's no transitional phase in the middle.
The high temperatures and drought in May have been a disaster for the major agricultural provinces. On May 29th, many netizens in Sichuan Province, southwest China, left comments about how dry and hot it was there. They wrote, "The northeast of Sichuan is so hot, there was no rain at all. The reservoirs in Luzhou County are dry, and the water stops every afternoon. The seedlings in the fields are all done. Even when it rains frequently, it rains lightly every time, without even wetting the ground." Another example is Henan Province in southwest China. Since this year, it has experienced a prolonged drought with little rainfall, more than 60% less than the same period in history, and the least amount of precipitation in the past 5 years. On April 18th, Henan Province launched a Level 3 emergency response to the drought. Hundreds of rivers broke their flow, reservoirs dried up, countless crops and trees dried up, and millions of people were affected. On May 30th, water companies in Sichuan Province even urged people to take a shower 2 to 4 times a month. Temperatures in some areas reached 42 degrees Celsius or 107.6 Fahrenheit. Crops that peasants had planted earlier have basically withered and perished due to the prolonged drought, and the local drought will continue in early June with no effective rainfall in most areas of Yunnan Province.
天哪，兄弟姐妹们，你们看看。
Gosh, brothers and sisters, look at this corn. I've been thinking left and right for 3 days about where we, Yunnan people, have offended the divine. It's fine if it doesn't rain, but why the high temperature? This has never happened in the history of Yunnan, huh? In previous years, the summer here was about 27 to 28 degrees Celsius. This year, it's more than 33 degrees Celsius or 91.4 Fahrenheit. How are peasants supposed to live? Our vast number of rural people are living at the bottom of society. The drought in Yunnan is still going, and the peasants are powerless. The drought is so severe that many peasants' hearts are in pain. The temperature is surging the whole time. People are getting dizzy from the sun. There has been no rain these past few months, and the withering crops aren't growing.
You have gone to work in other provinces. Stay there and work hard. Whether it's a job of over 400 or 500 US dollars a month or even $280. Stay and don't come back. Look, we have a drought in Henan. None of the crops in the fields can survive, except the little bit by the lake.
让大家感受一下云南的刚好。
Let's feel the drought in Yunnan. Look at the cornfields in Yunnan. If I hadn't planted the corn seeds myself, I would believe you if you told me they were garlic shoots. It's 6 p.m. on May 29th, 2023. I'm at a reservoir in Jiqing City, Yunnan Province. You see the sign for the reservoir, no swimming, violators of the law at their own risk. Now, let's see how serious the drought is in Yunnan this year. I'm at the reservoir now, as you can see. The whole reservoir is completely dried up. Let's go to the middle of the reservoir and look. Let's move on. You can see the soil at the bottom of the reservoir under my feet. This crack is almost 30 centimeters, and the whole reservoir has completely dried up. This year's drought in Yunnan is probably a once-in-a-decade occurrence. I have been in Yunnan Province for 9 years since 2015. I have never seen such a serious drought. People are drilling wells, but they can't find water even though they have reached 200 meters deep. It took until 280 meters underground for water to come out. But the question is, how many peasants can drill a 280-meter well? Only the large planters of large agricultural bases have this capability, so the drought is very serious. Now the CCP's chaotic management seems unable to cope with the various kinds of extreme weather. It's feared that the Communist Party will not only fail to fulfill its dream of food self-sufficiency, but will have to face the crisis of a food shortage on the horizon.